Risk off just everywhere you turn. Is that the right move?
Hi, Caroline. Thanks for having me. Yeah, unfortunately, we're in the eye of the storm, and we're entering a period of significant uncertainty and risk-off period. I think the thing is there's still likely to be a retaliation going forward, and I think markets actually are not pricing in more severe economic slowdown and more, behavioral response from companies, which is likely to be a freeze in investment and lower hiring, etc. So I will say the path down here is likely to be volatile and also very bumpy and more likely tilted to the downside.
Janet, just focusing in on what you just said, you think there's more downside to come? You think that we haven't priced in enough the retaliation? Already we get France, Germany looking at saying they're not going to invest as much in the US, in particular Macron asking French companies not to invest in the United States.
Yeah, I think the problem is that I think there's still so much uncertainty. We never really had this sort of high tariffs going on that is blanket across the globe in the modern ages. So this is like uncharted territory we are talking about here. And I think the most significant area that is affected is the Asian nations that have deeply embedded supply chains. And, multinationals over the past decades have, been investing heavily in the China and the China plus one brand shoring strategy, and that is, being upended at the moment. So huge uncertainty, huge changes to the trade flow and cost structures, and huge compression to margin potentially if this go on for a longer time. I think what I worry about is really the portfolio flows going forward, which, as overseas investors contemplate whether they should continue to reduce that U.S. exposure, and it could be going on for a more sustained period of time.
What still needs to go on for a sustained period of time is clarity with semiconductors. There's a carve-out for semis from this particular round of tariffs, but there's ongoing discussion around support for building here in the United States as the CHIPS Act gets reworked. How many more shoes to drop are there in the semi space?
Yeah, again, I think it's the really complex supply chain we're talking about here. There's just so much uncertainty, and I think, TSMC has already pledged over $100 billion of investment. But again, Taiwan is being hit with a 34% tariff. So it seems that there's just, not much certainty and potential room for negotiation. So I think it is just very bad for the sector, which is a highly complex supply chain related. We'll have to see, but ultimately this is going to increase cost for a lot of the foundries, semiconductor companies in the States.
Right.
So I think this is not a great outcome. It's a lose-lose situation.